G'day guys, it's Phantom, and I am finally doing it. I am reviewing the MF Doom and Madlib collab album, Madvillainy. This is the 2004 classic album from the duo who is named Madvillain. Madvillainy is an album that I only listened to about 2 weeks ago because I haven't listened to it. I've been pushing it back, listening to it for a while, and I don't know why, but I'm so glad that I do it in full because this is honestly one of the greatest albums that I have listened to, like genuinely. MF Doom has made such a interesting character, and his personality all over this album is elite. There is almost no negative things that I have with this album. It is 22 tracks and it flows through beautifully. There is not a second wasted at all, and being 46 minutes, each song is about a minute to 3 minutes. The pacing of this album is amazing. Let's talk about the sound of this album because it is one of the best sounding albums that I have ever listened to. Being a 2004 album, this still holds up to be one of the greatest sounding, the greatest produced, the greatest mixed albums of all time, honestly. It even outshines most albums today. Still, let's talk about the flows because MF Doom's flow is just so unique. It is simple, but yet so effective with his voice as well, because he has this deep, grimy voice that just keeps you in and just drags you on his journey. The lyrics as well, some of the greatest storytelling of any album, honestly. He brings some ideas that nobody thinks of and makes an entire story in just under 2 minutes or a bit longer than that, which is just amazing. And the stories, the imagery that you see by listening to this album is just incredible. And being a collab album, of course, with MF Doom and Madlib. Madlib has his time to shine. There is a few songs that you would count as interludes, which is just production from Madlib's amazing production. It brings some soul samples, some jazz samples. If there was something to describe this album, it would be like a Saturday morning cartoon of like superheroes or Looney Tunes or whatever, 60s cartoons. The soundtrack of those all sound like samples on this, and Madlib incorporates them so well. And it has some beautiful sounds. The jazzy sounds are incredible. Yeah, it's the production overall is one of the best produced albums ever. MF Doom has such amazing humor as well, with his lyrics and the theme of villain. It's just, you can see it. The very first song, the Illest Villains, just sets up the tone. It describes the character. The album is kind of like a narrative of describing MF Doom's character, and the Madvillain and the villain that he is. It's kind of like third person rapping, with them talking about themselves. And the way that he rhymes as well, it's just so effortless. He just flows and just rhymes non-stop as well. There's some indices on some songs that just doesn't stop. It's like, do you breathe? Because he just keeps going. let's talk about each track and what the standouts for me were. Accordion, the first proper song, brings such a cool accordion sample, and it is a great track. Following that with Meat Grinder, which is just grimy, grizzly, just rumbling song that is just incredible. Raid is just an upbeat and cool song, with amazing production as well. Obviously, the production overall is incredible. Rainbows, honestly, it's like the instrumental is singing with Doom. It just flows so well. And then, of course, you have some great songs as well from that point. All great stuff. As well, it has this haunting feature. It has some haunting verses, and it just sounds so just sonically haunting and so cool at the same time. All caps, you will probably know this one just by the production itself, but it is one of my favorites. It probably is my favorite with Meat Grinder and Rainbows, but it's just such a cool song. And then the last two songs, of course, all great. This album is incredible. If you have, just listen to it. You need to listen to it right now. Open up Spotify or whatever you're on. Listen to it, because I put it off for so long. I don't know why. This is incredible, and yes, it is getting a 10. Anyway, what were your thoughts on Madvillainy? It is one of my favorite albums of all time, to be honest. And 20 years later, still holds up. Have a good one.